Welcome to my channel. This is Grace Manzi. In the video today, I'll be showing you how to make a shift dress with bishop sleeves. Okay? It's very simple and straightforward. Before we get into the video, I just want to say a special thank you to those who subscribe to my channel, those who took time to watch my videos, all those who shared and liked my videos, and oh my God, the wonderful comments. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. God bless you. Right, if it's your first time watching this channel, today is your day. Just join the team, subscribe to my channel, share and like the videos, okay? Now, let's get straight into the video. You're going to need your pattern master, the fabric, okay? Interfacing, some pins, a pair of scissors, a tape measure, a chalk, matching zipper. And before you start on this project, make sure to trace and cut out a basic sleeve pattern. If you don't have one, I've got a full tutorial on how to make a basic sleeve pattern in my previous videos. And these are the measurements required: shoulder measurement, bust, waist, hip, shoulder to bust, shoulder to waist, shoulder to hip, and the desired length of the dress. So you start by folding your fabric into four, okay? This is the center back with two open ends, right? This is the folded end, which is going to be your center front. And I have drawn a line here, which is going to act as your shoulder line, okay? So all the measurements are going to start from this shoulder line. We are going to start by marking the bust line, which is 12 inches from the shoulder line, okay? So you take your tape measure and mark 12 inches across. Ruler and draw a straight line. After drawing in the bust line, the next thing you are going to do is to draw in the waist line, which is 18 inches from the shoulder line. So you mark 18 inches from the shoulder and mark all the way across. Get your ruler and draw a straight line. Now you've got your shoulder line, your bust line, and your waist line. The next thing you are going to do is to mark your hip line, which is 24 inches from the shoulder line. So you mark 24 inches all across and draw a straight line. From the hip line here, I went ahead and marked the length of my dress, okay? For the front neckline, I marked 4 inches from the center front. All the measurements are coming from the center front, not the center back, okay? So you mark 4 inches across and mark on the shoulder line, okay? then I'm going to go down 3 inches and mark. Get my pattern master and draw in a curve for the front neckline. Okay. For the shoulder slope, I'm going to mark 3 inches from the center front, okay, and mark 8 inches across, which is standard, right, and mark on the shoulder line, go down by 1 inch and mark, okay. Get my ruler from the 3-inch mark to the 1 inch down on the 8 inches mark. I draw the shoulder flat. Okay, can you see that? Now, for the back neckline, all I do is just go down by 1 inch and mark. Get my pattern master and mark the back neckline as follows. Your back neckline and you got your front neckline, right? And that's your shoulder slope, right? To do the armhole, you are going to need your chest line calculation, which is bust line measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. In my case, my bust measurement is 44 divided by 6 plus 1.5. I get 8.8 inches, which I rounded off to 9 inches. Now for the armhole, I'm going to divide my shoulder measurement by 2, which I get 8.5, okay? So I measure 8.5 across, okay? And mark, right? The next thing I'm going to do is to mark the chest line. And I've already told you the calculation, and so I'm going to measure 9 inches, okay, from the shoulder slope, not from the shoulder line, but from the shoulder slope, coming down towards the bust line, okay. So I measure 9 inches here and mark, okay. I get my ruler and draw a straight line. My chest line is here. I can also go ahead and draw a line across. Right, so that's my chest line, bust line, waistline going down like that. So for the front armhole, I get the midpoint of that line here by simply putting my tape measure along that line, okay, to the chest line, the 9 mark, okay, 9 inches mark, fold it back, right, and mark the midpoint. I come in by ½ inch, okay, and mark. Get my pattern master and draw in the armhole, okay. So this is how you draw in armhole. Okay. First you come in by 1 inch. Okay. And then the next thing you are doing is just drawing a curve which is going to touch the chest line. Okay. Like that. Front armhole that you can see there. For the back armhole, you simply go down along that line and draw a curve to touch the chest line. that's what you do. You just go onto that line and draw a curve to touch the chest line. Okay, so that's your back armhole and this is your front armhole. Now we are going to impute the side measurements, starting with the bust line. Okay, bust measurement divided by 4 is 11. Okay, and I'm going to add 1 inch ease because this shift dress is a free dress with no darts. With ease it's going to be 12, and with sewing allowance it's going to be 13. Okay, so you put a mark there at the 12 and at 13. Okay, right, you come to the waistline. 36 divided by 4 is 9. Okay, on the waistline I'm going to add 2 inches ease and it becomes 11. Okay, right, so I mark at 11 inches and then I add 1 inch sewing allowance. Okay, on the hip line, 50 divided by 4 is 12.5 plus 1 inch, 13.5. Okay, and then add 1 inch sewing allowance. That's 14.5 over here. Okay, I'm going to put the same measurements on the dress length. That is 13.5. Okay, and then add 1 inch to make 14.5 for the sewing allowance. Now I'm going to go ahead and join in those points on the side using the pattern master. Okay, smoothen out all the curves so that you don't have sharp ends. Okay, so just follow what I'm doing when you join the lines. Okay, make sure there are no sharp edges. Okay, and then you just simply join by a straight line to the chest line here. Okay, right, so our pattern is ready to cut out. So we start by cutting out the back first before we separate the two pieces. Okay, so this is how you cut it out. Okay, cut out the back neckline. So okay, cut out the shoulder, adding half an inch sewing allowance. Okay, don't forget that, very important. Add sewing allowance on your shoulder, half an inch sewing allowance. Okay, right, and then you go to the side. Okay, there you have it, almost done. Okay, that's back and front done. Before you separate the two, you come to the waistline here. Okay, because our back is not entirely straight like this, we want to impute a back curve, so make sure this line are extended to the zip allowance here. Okay, measure a quarter of an inch, just a quarter going in on the waistline. Okay, and mark. Right, from that quarter of an inch mark here, just go ahead and draw a line coming out like that, like what I'm doing here. Okay, same, going up like that. go ahead and cut out along that line there that you've just drawn, okay? The back curve. There you go. Right. To separate the two, all you do is just lift that from the front piece, from the center front here, and just cut out the front neckline. Okay, so you've got your back, your front piece is done. Now we move on to the sleeves. Now get your sleeve pattern and pin it in place as I have done here, and make sure you've got 2 layers of fabric, okay? Right, this is how I do the bishop sleeve, okay? The first thing I do is to mark 6 inches from the elbow line going up, okay? So I mark 6 inches going up and mark. Okay, I go ahead and draw a straight line across. Basically, I want the flare to start from that line, okay? And this is the elbow line, and this is the wrist. So, you determine where you want your flare to end, okay? From your wrist going up, right? So, from my wrist going up, I just want a cuff of about 4 inches, okay? So, you measure 4 inches from the wrist going up. Okay, that's quite a thick one, but that's how I want it, right? You measure 4 inches up, okay, and draw a straight line. Okay, so that's going to be your cuff. Okay, so you can simply just cut it out now, and you are going to use that piece to cut out your cuff, and including sewing allowances around it. Next thing, you are going to determine how flared you want your sleeve to be, okay? So just remember, what you do this side, you also do on the other side. So I'm going to measure 6 inches here from the sleeve and mark, okay? So I've got to mark 6 inches on this side as well, going out. Okay? Right. I'm going to extend that line here, which is the midpoint of our sleeve. I'm going to extend it all the way down, okay? Right. The next thing I'm going to do is to measure 2 inches coming down, okay? 2 inches here and mark. Right. Once I've marked that, I'm going to measure from that line here to the 2 inches mark. I'm getting 14 and a half, okay? So I'm going to come to this line again and measure 14 and a half, slanting my ruler, my tape measure like you see here, okay? I'm going to mark at the 14-inch mark here, okay? Right, keeping the tape measure on the same point, I'm going to mark again 14 and a half, okay? Right. I come down here, I measure 14 and a half. Okay, did you see what I've just done? Okay, you put it on the line. After measuring this here, getting 14 and a half, you put it on the line, your tape measure, slant it, measure 14 and a half going out, okay? Don't lift your tape measure, you measure 14 and a half coming in, with your tape measure still on that end. Okay, can you see? You've got a curve already going out that way. So the next thing you are going to do is get your ruler, right, and draw in your sleeve like that. Okay, and then before you can make that pointy, just go ahead and draw it in, blending it in like nicely like that. So that's the other side, one side of your sleeve, okay, like that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same on this side. Okay, I go to that point, right, I measure 14.5 inches, okay, 14.5 inches and mark. I don't lift my tape measure, I just bring it down and measure 14.5 inches again, okay, and mark, right. And then I come in here about midpoint and mark 14.5 inches. So that's my curve here for the sleeve, done. Okay, it's not very curvy, but that's how the sleeve is going to look like. Then I can just go ahead and blend in a straight line here, okay? Okay, so I can just now go ahead and cut it out. By the way, when I made this sleeve, I included the sewing allowances here, so I'm not adding any sewing allowances on the side here. I'm just going to add a quarter of an inch just at the armhole side there, okay? For the cuff, you put the wrist on the fold like that. That's the wrist side on the fold, and you've got 4 layers there because you're going to cut 2 of these, okay? And then you just cut along like I'm doing, okay? Using ½ inch, leaving ½ inch sewing allowance at the top here, okay? Go ahead, cut out on the side. Okay, that's the cuff done. This is the wrist area, so it's going to be like this, right? And that's going to be joined to the rest of the sleeve. Okay. For the back facing, you simply have 2 pieces of fabric like that. Okay, make sure they are well aligned here. Okay, slide it under the back piece like that. Okay, get your chalk and draw along the neckline. measure how wide you want your facing to be. Okay, I'm just measuring 2 inches here. Then go ahead and cut it out. Go ahead and make the front facing as well. Okay, the same way you did the back facing. Okay, so that's the front and back facing done. That's your cuff. So only these I'm going to use interfacing. So I'm going to use interfacing to cut out this back and front facing as well as the cuff. Okay, and then we'll be ready to start sewing. Start by joining the 2 back pieces right sides together, leaving 18 inches from the neckline. Okay, pin them together as I have done here, and using 1 inch seam allowance, join them together. Open the seam and do some overlocking to neaten the seam. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, the next thing you are going to do is to take your back facings, pin them to the right side of the back pieces like that. Okay, pin them in place. Okay, go ahead and use a 1/4 inch sewing allowance. Do the same on the other side. Okay. Okay, to insert the zip, open the seam here after notching a little bit. Okay, open the seam like that and fold back this 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, that you used to join these 2. Okay, take your zip. Okay, place your zip in, fold facing back like that. Okay, and pin it in place. I hope you can see. Right, pin it in place. Okay, go ahead and pin the zip all the way down before you can start sewing. Like this. Okay, I've already done the other side. Look like that. Okay, finish off that end. Then you can go ahead and sew the zip on using 1 centimeter seam allowance around it. Okay. The next thing you are going to do is to attach the facing to the front part of your dress using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, the next thing you are going to do is to join the back and front at the shoulders like this. Start pinning from the facing and make sure that seam goes towards the facing like that. Okay, and pin it in place. Okay, now you can go ahead and join the shoulders. Alright, so once you've got that pinned in place, the next thing is just to use 1/2 inch seam allowance and join the back and front at the shoulders. Okay, the next thing you are going to do is just to overlock to tidy up that shoulder seam. Okay, once you've done that, okay, just go notch around the neckline. Okay, all the way around. Right, once you have done that, you're going to turn towards your facing like that with the seam towards the facing. Okay, and just do an edge stitching here so that your neckline is going to be lovely and neat. Okay, I'll show you when I've done mine. It's going to be lovely and neat. Okay, so here is my finished neckline, very neat as you can see. Right, that's the back and this is the front. So the next thing we are going to do now, you see, is just to join the side seams, okay? And then we go on to the sleeves, okay? Now for the sleeves, we are going to start with the cuffs, okay? I didn't manage to cut this one forward because I didn't have enough fabric, so I've got 2 pieces here to make one cuff. And as you can see, I've only put interfacing on one side, right? So the first thing I'm going to do is just to join this end first, okay? So I'm going to make a 1/4 inch seam here, and then I will show you what to do next. Okay, once I have stitched here, the next thing is I'm going to turn it over, right? Okay, make sure the seam is leaning against the side where there's no interfacing, and then I'm going to go ahead and do an edge stitching here, okay? Now after the edge stitching, the next thing I'm going to do is to bring the cuff together like that, okay? As you can see, right? And then use 1/4 inch seam allowance and make a seam right there. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is to turn it over, okay? Like that. You see? Once both cuffs are done, as you can see, they are ready. The next thing I'm going to do is to notch both at the armhole end of the sleeve, okay? Now notch the midpoint and also notch at the wrist here, okay? And then I'm going to go ahead and take out the cutting piece. Make sure to mark your front and back of the sleeves, very important. So this is the front. I put a big F here so that I don't make a mistake when inserting them onto the armhole. So the first thing I'm going to do is to make 2 rows of gathering stitches on both sleeves. Using 1/2 inch seam allowance, the next thing you are going to do is to join the sleeve under the armhole. Okay, the next thing is to fold the cuff like that, and matching that notched end, you're going to slide in your cuff right like that. Pin in place, right? Go ahead using that join seam, join it together with the sleeve seam here, okay? Once that is done, the next thing is to pull the gathering stitches, okay? Make sure to get the threads. The 2 threads at the same time and pull right. Okay, once they are matching with the cuff this end, you go ahead and pin it in place. You do the same on the other side. Okay, once the sleeve is sewn in place, it's going to look like that. Okay, that's basically the sleeve done, and it's ready to be attached to the dress. So that's what I'm going to do, attach the sleeve to the dress, okay? And finish off the hem, and then I'll show you when the dress is done, okay? Here is the finished dress. The sleeves came out very nice, as you can see. Okay? Yep, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you. Okay, as you usual, I'm going to try it on, and you are going to see me outside putting on this shift